Thank you to everyone for being here tonight. Thank you particularly to our sponsors and to the chairs for tonight's gala, Nancy Rollins and Michelle Duffy. I almost didn't get here today. I had some travel difficulties. I actually got on a plane at LaGuardia in New York, and we took off and had some engine trouble. Some loud banging sounds were coming from the wing on the right-hand side, which is not a good thing when you're sitting close to the wing. And they actually shut the engine off, and they diverted the flight and did an emergency landing at JFK. This is just this afternoon. And fire trucks came out and just to make sure the plane wasn't on fire, and thank God nothing was wrong. They just had to shut down the engine. And so I got another flight a couple hours later. But in the meantime, I talked to my wife, and she said, you know, maybe you've flown enough today. Maybe it's not meant for you to go to Atlanta. And while I'm sure you all would have understood after an experience like that if I didn't come, I really wanted to come. I really wanted to come because we're honoring some special people here tonight. Net and Penn Payne are the true example of JDRF volunteers in terms of their contribution to this organization, both their talent and time and their treasure. They are outstanding people, outstanding contributors to our mission, and I'm very grateful to them for what they have done for us on behalf of their daughter Elizabeth. So I'd like to give them a round of applause, which I'm sure will be the not the last round of applause they'll get tonight, I'm sure. So I've been pretty lucky in my life to experience some success early in life. I was in the right place, right time, right people, right ideas, and so I was involved with a couple ventures that worked out pretty well and gave me a really phenomenal opportunity to sort of sit back and decide with the next phase of my life what was I going to do, what was I going to spend my time on, what was interesting and motivational to me. And so about 9 years ago, I made a decision that I was going to spend some time in philanthropy. I was going to get into that world and look at some causes that were interesting to me, where I thought I might be able to make a difference. I was thinking about things like poverty in the developing world, very remote from my daily existence, but obviously quite a pressing need for the world. And about the same time, my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, something that I hadn't put on the list anywhere, something I wasn't interested in. But since September 19, 2002, when my son was diagnosed, it's been a pretty big deal. In fact, it's been the biggest deal in my life in terms of my interest. So coinciding with the time I was going to spend in philanthropy, this cause picked me rather than me picking it. So for the last 8 years, I've spent time with JDRF. I think it's the organization that has the capabilities, the capacity, and the scale to make a significant difference in my son's life. And it also is an organization which, as Penn and Net can exemplify, offers volunteers a real opportunity to dig down and get involved in a number of meaningful ways, whether it be fundraising or with research or with advocacy. It is truly a partnership between the staff of JDRF and the volunteers, without whom we wouldn't be able to achieve our goals. So, in terms of JDRF and my efforts over the last 7 years, one of the things that's been really important and at the top of my mind has been JDRF's initiatives in order to improve the lives of people living with this disease. JDRF is going to result in a cure for this disease at some point. I believe that a cure will happen. I believe it'll happen decades earlier than it otherwise would based on JDRF efforts. But I also believe that along the way to that cure, we're going to be able to do some pretty special things in terms of improving the lives of people living with this disease. We're going to be able to make it a safer and easier disease to live with so that people can be healthy and be able to take advantage of that cure when it comes. And so one of the things I've been really interested in is the Artificial Pancreas Project, which I'm really gratified tonight to see that the Fund a Cure is dedicated to, which means that all the funds that are pledged during the Fund a Cure will go 100% of those to the Artificial Pancreas Project. Because an artificial pancreas, it could do some pretty special things in terms of keeping people safe. While it's not a cure, it could solve some really basic challenges that people have in living with this disease. For instance, my 16-year-old son has type 1 diabetes, as I said. About 8 months ago, he was playing fast and loose with the insulin and a midnight snack, not really careful, as a 15-year-old at the time would usually be with what he's doing. But he has this huge responsibility to basically self-prescribe this medicine on a almost hour-by-hour basis. Well, he made a mistake, and the next morning, he didn't wake up. He was actually in a hypoglycemic coma, and unfortunately, I wasn't there. My wife was. He was behind a locked door in his room. She had to call the New York City Fire Department. They broke down the door and basically took him to the hospital. He was in the ICU for 36 hours, wasn't able to speak his name. Thank God everything turned out okay. Thank you. It all turned out okay. A 15-year-old brain is apparently amazingly resilient. Everything rebooted, and we were lucky for that. But it might not have turned out the same way had my wife not known and felt that something was wrong and gone to check on him at the right time. And unfortunately, this is something that happens to a lot of people. And it's something that we can fix by tying a continuous glucose monitor to an insulin pump and making decisions on cutting off insulin. Because the sad thing was that when my son was sitting in bed, actually having a hypoglycemic seizure, his insulin pump was pumping more insulin into him. In fact, it was choosing to pump more insulin into him at an increased rate because we had it pre-programmed to do that around 5 o'clock in the morning. And we can fix this today, and I believe that as a result of JDRF's efforts, the Artificial Pancreas Project, we're going to be able to provide people with an opportunity to sleep better at night, to not have to check their blood sugar throughout the night so that they can actually know they're going to wake up in the morning. That'll be a pretty special thing. So I'm here as the president and CEO of JDRF tonight because a year ago, as I was rolling off the board, actually the same board term that NetPain was rolling off, we had a leadership opportunity come available, and I had some people suggest to me that since I was already spending a lot of time with the organization, that I should think about maybe going all in and putting my hat in the ring. And I thought about it, and although it wasn't the thing that I planned on doing with my life at this time, I couldn't think of a more rewarding and better use of my time and my efforts than to be leading this organization. I'm excited to be doing what I'm doing. I'm honored to be working with this organization and have the opportunity to work with all of you. I think this organization is going to achieve something very meaningful for my son. I think it's going to have a big impact on the quality of my son's life, and I appreciate your support tonight.